Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brandon Sobotka with Brand Backstage. Brand Backstage is where you get a behind-the-scenes answer to any comment, question, or concern that I receive throughout the week about building your brand or entrepreneurship in general. And so today's question is really about what I'll use his words, he calls significant costs up front in your business. So things like time, energy, and resources. And what I'm going to provide is really what I call the 3 unrivaled recommendations that you need to be focusing on before you start your personal brand, and really before you start any business. But these 3 recommendations they're holistic in nature, and if you don't get clear and focused on them from the beginning, what's going to happen is they're going to catch up to you at some point in time as you're building your business and growing your brand. So very important. If this is something that you like this video, share it, subscribe below so that you can receive a Brand Backstage or notifications about any of my videos on a consistent basis. Typically, I'm answering these at least once a week, and then I drop other videos periodically as we go. So subscribe, and let's dive in. So the first question, or today's question, is I really want to build my personal brand, but the significant cost and time and effort that must be paid upfront, even when you're not sure what you are doing will pay off, is a big hurdle for me. What advice do you have for overcoming the initial upfront cost of time, effort, and money? So, great question. As I mentioned, the big issues that happen out of the gate are typically that entrepreneurs get so excited. I mean, this is what makes entrepreneurs so great, is we are super passionate when we have an idea, right? When that idea comes up, we want to go right into it. We want to bring it to the world. We want to share it with our people. We want to solve problems. We want to make a change, a difference, and just build a better world in whatever way that we can, right? Well, that emotion is great. However, the problem with that is that we get a little too excited and we don't do enough planning a lot of times up front, and we just forge our way forward. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to succeed. What that just means a lot of times is you might experience more slips, falls, failures, and in this case, costs up front, right? And the reason that you're doing that is because you're going to spend time doing things that you probably might not should have done, or you're going to spend time learning things that you'll have to continue to learn, right? So the learning curve, you're going to be spending money on, either learnings or technology or tools or other expenses that you may or may not need right now. And so taking a little bit of time to plan is always key, and not letting that emotion really take control out of the gate. So emotion can kind of get in the way, making us like almost overly excited, right? It's like the athlete who gets on the field or on the court when they're really excited and they overplay rather than staying really focused and poised in the moment. And so maybe they miss the layup because they come in too strong, they're too excited, or maybe they miss the tackle because they were going after the person so hard that they missed them, right? They weren't under control. So that's a big thing. The third thing that comes up that comes to mind that people make mistakes with, or that costs them out of the gate, that creates these costs of time, effort, and money, is the lack of mental preparation, right? And that's not their fault. Really, the truth is when anytime we start anything new, especially in business, every time we start a new project, we never really know what that project is going to entail a lot of times, right? Completely. Or if we're trying to be innovative, well, innovation is always a lot of times creating something new or solving a problem that hasn't been solved yet. So there's going to be some unknowns there. But what we don't take into account is the effects of those struggles, of those costs, of the extra time, of the extra effort, of the loss of resources, of the loss of money that may occur in that process, and what the toll is that it takes on our minds, right? And so those are three things that really stand out for me when I think about it is coming in too emotionally strong. Now you want to be passionate, but not, overplaying it all, right? You want to have a plan, right? So a lot of people come in without that plan, which is number two. You want to take enough time to plan. That's a lot of times you hear people say plan good enough and then get going, right? So planning good enough is something that doesn't really happen out of the gate. And then the third one is that lack of mental preparation, right, for what might come in worst scenario outcomes potentially, right? And I'm not saying go and think and dive into what the worst things are that might happen and be a pessimist about it, but you should definitely be considering what could potentially happen along the way, right? So how do I solve that? And what are the three, like I said, unrivaled recommendations that I typically give people? Well, number one is something that you hear all the time, but I don't know if people explain it this way in terms of business, right? Is you have to have goals, right? But not just, the typical goals. You really have to take into account the holistic picture, right? And so what I mean by that from a business perspective is what are the goals financially for the business? And that means what are the expenses that you need to cover in the business? And what are the profits on top of that in order to live the lifestyle you want, right? Well, here's where people trip up a little bit is they don't really consider the big picture of their life, right? And so what I'm talking about in their life is, so the profits of that business must cover also your life expenses and the lifestyle that you want to live above those expenses. So the vacations that you want to go on, the retirement that you want to put away, the investments that you need to put away. Do you want to pay for your kids' college? What hobbies do you want to dabble in? The type and size of home or the locations that you live, the cars that you want, all those types of things, right? So once you understand the lifestyle, the personal expenses of that, and then the business expenses, you want your business to be able to cover all of that and still run a profit that goes into the business so that you can continue to build and grow the business. So the best way to be able to do that is really understanding in a very clear way what your life goals are, right? All of those things I mentioned. What do you want to achieve? What's the lifestyle you want to live? What are the things that you want to dabble in every day? What's the experiences you want to feel and go through? And when you nail those down, that's going to help you really identify what the business needs to do and produce, and the number of clients that you need. And that really actually bleeds into point two, which comes down to what I call freedom-based pricing, right? Once you know all that information from the big goals, then you have to decide what I call freedom-based pricing, right? And the reason I call it freedom-based pricing is because it is value-based pricing that is priced at such a high value that it provides you freedom. Now, when I say such a high value, I mean that's all relative to your business and the lifestyle that you want to create, right? So But the whole goal of that value-based pricing is to create freedom in your life, right? And I'm not just talking about financial freedom. I'm talking about time freedom. I'm talking about more creative freedom. I'm talking about more personal freedom, right? I'm talking about more emotional freedom. So all the freedoms that come with the lifestyle that you ultimately want, right? Going right back into that goals piece. So how to identify the prices that I want for freedom-based pricing? Well, first you have to identify what are the products or services that you offer and how much time from start to finish do those projects, so the product or service that you sell, I consider that a project from beginning to end. How much time does that take, right? So what are the things that you sell, products or services? How much time do each of those projects take? And then identify what do you charge for those, and based off of that fee, how many do you have to sell? Right? How many clients do you have to sell, or how many packages do you have to sell at those current prices in order to achieve the goals that you want, right? Now, if you look at that and it says, I have to sell, 50 of them. I don't know. I'm just making up hypothetical numbers. If I have to sell 50 of them, but those 50 take up way more hours, billable hours than I have available in a week or a month, then I need to increase the value of the product or service that I sell so that I can price it at a higher price point so that I can achieve the freedom that I want to deliver that service in the amount of billable hours I have, right? So hopefully that makes sense. But that is freedom-based pricing, and that is number two. A lot of people don't think about that. We just go out and we try and sell to anybody and everybody that we get in front of, or who comes in front of us. And what starts to happen a lot of times is we get on this hamster wheel of working with clients, filling our schedule, working with clients until some fall off, and then we have to sell. And then we get our schedule full and we're working with clients full. And we can only fulfill so many hours before, and do that for a consistent amount of time. If you're doing that for weeks, months, and some people even years, eventually you will burn out. It's just not sustainable. I'm sure there's some people out there who have done it and they've done it long enough to achieve maybe some things that they wanted. But when you're working that much, you're not getting the time freedom that you want, right? You're not getting the personal freedom of like vacation and family time that you want. You're not getting the creative freedom that you want. So what I mean by creative freedom is the time away, or it's still time within your work, but it's time away from the billable hours to create the way that you want, right? Create the things that you want, dabble in the projects that you absolutely love the most. Hopefully you build that into your products and services a little bit, but we always love some of our own time to create whatever the new and next thing is, right? So creative freedom, that emotional freedom. You never get the emotional freedom that you need, that peace of mind, if you're constantly on the hamster wheel, because you're not focused on the emotions. You're caught up in what's going on here, which is just nonstop, and you eventually burn out. You don't get that peace of mind. So that is freedom-based pricing, right? That's step two. And then the third one is a deep awareness. And so if you notice, these unrivaled recommendations really are built around, leading your business, right? Freedom-based pricing. The one I just mentioned, this deep awareness, is really leading yourself. And then the goals for the business and the big goals, the big picture goals of holistically everything, is really how you're leading your life. So super big picture and very well-rounded. So you have personal, you have your business, and then you have life in general. And so what I'm talking about with deep awareness is this. Deep awareness is taking the time to either on a daily basis, and really daily basis is very a very good practice to learn and gain, because you want to reflect every night on how your day went so that you can be able to capture these patterns, right? And the patterns are, there's going to be both good and there's going to be both bad, right? So there's going to be good ones, there's going to be bad ones. What we want to be able to learn is both of those. However, the deep reflection is meant to capture and really identify what are the bad ones that are creating resistance, right? They're creating conflict. They're creating procrastination. They're creating perfection, and they're creating fear. They're creating insecurities. They're creating small, moderate, and just big roadblocks along the way, and improving as a person, but also improving as a business owner and all the other things in your life, right? Ultimately, what we're looking for is how it's affecting your business. Because if it's affecting you, then it's going to be affecting the business. That then's going to affect the revenue that comes in. That then affects the lifestyle that you want to live and the personal goals that we were just talking about from a big picture perspective, right? So having that deep awareness and reflecting every night to identify those patterns of resistance, those patterns of fear, insecurity, etc., is huge. Why? Because you're going to start to create such an awareness that the goal is to be able to capture or identify yourself doing it in the moment so that you can recognize it and then change what's happening so that the outcome becomes different. And at the end of the day, when you reflect, you see, oh, a different result, a better result, a growth and an improvement in the right direction. So those are the three, the big goals, the freedom-based pricing, and the deep awareness. Those three, if you do those, to get back to his question here, it sounds like I'm a little off base with this, but his question was this: I really want to build my personal brand, but the significant cost in time and effort must be paid up. That must be paid up front, even when you're not sure what you are doing will pay off, is a big hurdle for me. What advice do you have for overcoming that initial upfront cost, right? So the advice I just gave, doing those three, the big goals, the freedom-based pricing, and the deep awareness, allows you to cover the costs up front, right? The financial costs, because if you have freedom-based pricing, you closing one deal, a lot of times, I don't want to say, it depends on the business, but let's just say that when you close one deal, it's well worth it, right? I know a lot of people, and you may be one of them, who are in business and you sell a deal and it's good, it feels great, but it barely gets you by, or it doesn't really cover much, right? And so with freedom-based pricing, usually when you close one deal, it's a huge help to your business. And so you'll be able to cover those money expenses a lot of times quicker. And it also helps to cut back on time, because you're not spending so much time worrying that, oh God, I need to be doing more because I need to be making more money, when actually you don't, because you just closed that one deal. So you can focus more on quality than quantity. And in that process, you're going to save time, energy, effort, resources, and money because of it. When you think about the big picture, same thing. It's just like when you have a destination in mind, if I know I'm going to Hawaii, then I can shoot for as straight a line as possible to get there. and it's going to save me time. It's going to save me effort and energy, and it's probably going to save me money because of that, right? The same thing is true in this case with the big goals, because you know your targets along the way, maybe the mini milestones to those targets. Then what's going to happen is you're going to save time, energy, and effort. Sure, along the way, there's always going to be slips, falls, stumbles, failures, and expenses that go along with those that add up. But the quicker we can get back on track, or even completely miss those, or not have those happen, then you're going to save that cost time, that the cost of time, energy, and effort, money, etc. So I hope that's helpful. If you really like this video, like I said, comment below, like, share, and if you want more of these, or if you want to leave a question, feel free to leave that below. But if you like this and you want to continue on getting these in your inbox, subscribe, and I'll be looking forward to any of those questions and learning more about you guys. All right. Talk to you soon. I'm Brandon Sobotka. This is Brand Backstage. Until next time, I'm out. See ya.